Hello, guys, and welcome back to the final Mission Empowered podcast of 2024. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and as always, I hope it's about to get a little bit better. So, today's episode is more of just a listening one for you guys. It is the last episode of the year that I'm going to do, and I thought it would be good to just share sort of my insight to how my year's gone. Obviously, it's been the busiest change year of my life, having a baby. But I've also done a little bit of reflection of the lessons that I've learned this year, not just about pregnancy, but about business and about me as well. So I've written down 5 lessons that I have learned this year, and I'm just going to talk through them, and hopefully they might help you as well. So yeah, last episode of the year, here we go. Right, number one. Oh no, let me just give you a bit of background. It's 7 a.m. 7 a.m. in the morning. Because I think, having the baby, the work days just don't go to plan. So then I'm scrambling with Ollie, like, I've got to get up at 7 a.m. So if I sound a little bit I don't know, tired, it's because I've literally just got up. Yes, okay, here we go. So lesson number one that I learned very early on this year was overloading my plate doesn't mean that I'm doing more. So like at the beginning of the year, I put so much on my plate with work. Like I wrote down 10 business goals and 10 life goals. I started planning them at the year, and then it turned out at the same time I was launching my big group program. I was launching the Fit in 6 on the same weekend that I was doing my Mission Empowered live event. I also had a really high amount of one-to-one clients, and I was pregnant at the same time. I was trying to do my gym. I was just trying to do everything all at one time. And I remember the biggest feeling that I felt was like I wasn't doing anything, is that I was just so focusing on so many different things that I didn't give myself time to adjust to do one thing really, really well and then add my plate onto that. I just started doing everything at once. And this isn't, just in a work thing. This can be relatable to sort of anything in life, is that especially coming into January, I think this lesson's quite important, is that we do go into the new year with so much motivation and so much positive will to do so many different things, and we want to do them, and that's great. And it's so lovely to have that willpower to be like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But what we quickly realize is that if we go from down here, like level 2 of doing things, to then up to level 20 of trying to do everything, you are going to feel like you're not getting anything done. And that's exactly how I felt it over this year, is that like overloading my plate, putting too much on doesn't make me, doesn't make me good. Doesn't mean that I'm doing loads, because actually what it felt like is that I actually could have done so much better focusing on one thing at one time and then moving on. And that for me is a big lesson that I'm going to take into 2025. And and this is why the podcast has got lesson in it, and why I've just said lesson, because I don't look at that and go, I really failed. I failed at doing all that. God, I look at it and think, do you know what? I tried it. I learned from it. I'll now do better. And isn't that what life is all about? It is for me anyway, because having that outlook on things that we didn't really succeed in, it makes you so much more positive to get to want to try again. If we just look at it from negative and be like, oh, I'm such a failure, I was really crap at doing that, or I didn't organise my time very well, blah blah blah, it just makes us feel rubbish. And actually, what we have to remember is trying to do things is because you've got that will in you, and that's an amazing quality to have, to want to reach and do things. But yeah, overloading my plate and trying to do so much at one time really taught me that I'm never gonna, because again, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I feel that I am not failing. I suffer with imposter syndrome. I think a lot of people do, is that I should be doing X, Y, and Z. Why can't I do it to 100%? But what I learned this year is that trying to do so many things at one time is not going to ever make me feel like I'm accomplishing loads, because what I'm best doing is focusing on one thing, doing it really well, and then adding something onto my plate. And I do use this with my clients actually a lot. And going into January, this is probably the lesson I would maybe like to give out or to advise, is that it's okay to start with going into January if you are going to try and look after your health and fitness, or you're going to try and do fat loss. Just give yourself one thing, 1 week at a time. Like maybe the first week you're going to focus on, doing food. Maybe the next week you're going to focus on make sure your food's on point and you're doing all your steps. And then the third week you're adding the gym in as well, and just have a bit of structure so that you're not trying to do everything at once. Because if we overload our life plate too quickly with too much, it all falls off and we feel like we failed. So yeah, that's my lesson number one, is putting loads on my plate doesn't mean I'm doing more. Effectively, it just has me doing less. Number two is, okay, these are all quite relating to each other. Being scared of change makes me human, not a failure. So obviously January this year, 19th of January, we found out we were pregnant. And flipping heck, if you haven't listened to Find Out I Was Pregnant episode, wow. It's an emotional one. You can go back and listen to that. But the biggest thing that I experienced in pregnancy wasn't, unfortunately, overwhelming happiness at the beginning. I was terrified. I was terrified of my whole life changing. Let me see if I've these all sort of relate to each other, to be honest with you. Okay, so yeah, I was just terrified of change, of life changing, of me changing, of the unknown, just everything. And I started not beating myself up, but I was just like, why am I scared? Like, I shouldn't be scared, this is great, this is good, like, this is life, this is what happens, this is what you wanted. And it started impacting me, like, that it was a negative, that I was scared of change, and that I shouldn't be scared of change. But what it actually made me realise is that being scared of change is all part of being human. We love our routine, and it took me a bit of a while to wrap my head around this. But if you think I'm always banging on about morning routine helps you start your day better, nighttime routine makes you sleep better, as humans, we like our home comforts. We like to know, what's coming, because it reduces our stress level. So it took me a little bit of a while just to realise that being scared makes me human, not a failure. And I feel like having that switch go off in my head is probably a switch I've needed to go off for a good few years. And that, I don't love change, and I am a bit of a control freak. I like to know what's coming, but that's not really life. And so I have to embrace change when it's happening. And when I started to embrace change, and listen, I'm going to be dead honest, I'm still not 100% there with it. I still don't love change, but that's because I'm human. But what I'm trying to get better at, and I have got a little bit better at, is that change is okay. When it happens, you will adapt and take it in your stride. You just need to take a deep breath and sort of see it as, right, I'm going to see what happens, see what changes, and then I'll deal with it, and then I can get back in control, rather than what I used to do, which is like, what's the word? Resist it. Used to resist change. Yeah. Didn't like it, didn't want it to happen, would freak out, increase my stress levels. And I just took a step back and thought, that's not very good, is it? Because change is inevitably going to happen. And some changes are things that we can't control. So why am I stressed about it? Because one of the things that I live by is worry about what you can control, don't worry about what you can't. And it just comes down to that, is that being scared of change means that we are actually human and we're not failing. And that was a big lesson for me this year. And I do, again, going into 2025, feel like I'm going to focus on, but obviously having Eliza, there's a lot of change that goes on daily. So I feel like that is a really big lesson for me, and I'm going to get better at just embracing change and trying to get more like better at how I react to it, and just, stay calm and then be like, right, now I'll make a plan. So yeah, if you're someone who's scared to change, as am I, it is because we are human and we're not failures. We just need to get better at being resilient and not resisting it and embracing it. There we go. Well, the word embrace been a very big one on the podcast this year. But yeah, getting better at embracing it. Okay, number 3, and this is hopefully going to help you. A big lesson for me this year was practicing doing what I say I'm going to do makes me better, and it won't always be hard. So I like to set myself little challenges, targets throughout the year, and I write them down. God, can we just talk about my morning voice? What the actual F? Should have had coffee with me. So I think that the reason I think this is going to help you, and it's helped me as well, is because I think when we start something new or we set a goal, and the actions we have to do to complete that goal always feel really hard at the start. And what I tried to tell myself this year was, yeah, it's hard now. And yeah, you can say it's hard now, but the more we do it, the less hard it will be, the less challenging, the less brain space it's going to need to really be like, oh, come on, Em, you need to do this, Earlier this year, or no, actually, I think it was mid-December last year, I used to only ever train like mid-morning or in the night. And last year I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to start going in the morning. I need to get it ticked off before I start my day. And it was so hard in the beginning. Like, I used to drive to the gym and be like bog-eyed, like, whoa. And then I remember all of a sudden, I must have been doing it for like maybe 2-3 months. I realised that actually I was driving to the gym 6 a.m. wide awake, just like I was driving to the gym at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning. And I realised because I've been practicing, it got less hard. And that's not, and I've tried to make it relative to our health and fitness, but for me also, what I really struggle with, and this is very, very honest of me, is that I struggle with the Instagram side of things with my business. I am a very, very good health and fitness coach. I do a lot of education. I've got a lot in here. I'm really good with how I coach with people, but a big part of my business is showing people that on Instagram, is showing you that on Instagram. And, that side of things, I'm so much better at. You can see how I tried to stop the negative, but I still need to work on it. And again, if I look back now, and so I set myself goals around that, and I say, right, this week I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'll continue to do it. And if I look back now at 2 years ago, where my Instagram content was, I've absolutely come on leaps and bounds. And I just have to believe that if I keep doing it, I keep setting myself the goals, keep doing what I say I'm going to do, it will get less hard. I think as well, the podcast is a very, very good example of that. Is that the very first episode I did, guys, of the Mission Empowered podcast took me all day. I just kept redoing it. Now I'm like, right, 7 a.m. I've got till 7:30, go. And because I've set myself this task of I've got to do a podcast every week, it's something that I want to do. I know that I really get my personality across, get loads of information out. That's what I love doing, them two things combined. And because I've set myself that task every week of practice, I am by no means a snazzy podcaster. Look at my setup. There's a birth ball still in the back. There's an Amazon package on the side. Like, we're still in my home office, I am by nowhere near. No means near, nowhere near. Anyway, nowhere near where I want to be, but I am so much better at it than I used to be. And that is because I've been practicing, and I know that setting myself that target of saying I do a podcast every week, that really, really, really makes me do it every week, makes me get better. And I think that's what I want you guys to take home, is that practicing doing what you say you're going to do. And don't worry if it feels hard, or don't worry if you miss here or there, or it's not how you wanted it to be, but practicing doing what you say you're going to do will pay off. And, you know, for example, I'm going to use this. I use a lot of my clients doing your steps. I do 10K steps every day. Okay. That's hard. If you're not used to doing any steps, you are going to feel like you are spending brain power thinking about it. You are spending time planning when you're going to do it. But trust me, in a few months' time, that will be the norm. That will be the ease for you. Yeah. And that's something we really focus on in Fit in 6 as well. And by the end of 6 weeks, people are like, I can't believe I never used to move. Yeah. I can't believe I never used to plan my meals. Practicing saying what you're going to do. Write it down at the start of the week and then follow it through, and keep doing that until you've achieved what you want to achieve. Trying to think if I've got any little goalie goals. So like the Instagram thing, reflection as well. Looking at my week, I never used to do. And I started doing that in 2024, albeit it dropped off August, September, with the baby coming and all that jazz. But I stuck to it, and it made me feel so much better. And by the end of the week, it wasn't so much of a task to go, right, okay, I need to go and do that, because I was so in the sync of doing it. And I think as well with number 3, practicing doing what you say you're going to do, you will reap the benefits of that repetition of doing it. Because what we say we want to do are all things that we want to make ourselves be better, whether it's plan foods, whether it's go to the gym, whether it's meditate, do yoga, whatever, you know, make time for friends. All of that stuff has got a positive return. And so once you start to feel that positive return, because you keep doing it, not only are you going to get the return for it, but you're also then going to prove yourself that you can do things that you set yourself to. So you set the task, you keep doing it becomes habit. And by the end, on reflection, you can look back and go, I can do things that I say I'm going to do. And then you'll set yourself another goal. That's how I learn anyway. That's exactly what I do. And that's why I like goal setting, because they might feel scary at the start. But I know that once I do them, I will be so proud of myself. And it's just another reminder to myself that I can do things that I actually don't think are achievable at one time, and then I can do them. All right, 2 more goes. Two more lessons. This is quite a big one, because as I said, I am a bit of a control freak. So number 4, life will sometimes show me what I need, not necessarily what I want. I am a big believer in the universe, and you know, there being a bigger force. And if you've listened to the podcast before, this is not going to be a shock for you. You know, I love being a little bit woo-woo. I love having that belief that there is something bigger that, you know, has got to do with like energy, putting things in our life path, sending opportunities, putting people in your life path. I'm a massive, massive believer in that, because otherwise, and if you're not a believer in that, that's fine. But my opinion and my outlook is, I get to believe in something so big, so powerful, so positive, that it's not hurting anyone, it's not harming anyone, but it makes me feel better. The other side of not believing in that, for me, is just a little bit negative. That, you know, there isn't anything out there like that moves, that, you know, that puts things in your path and gives you opportunities and shows you things that you're meant to see. You know, I'm just a big believer in that the things are meant to happen when they're meant to happen. And not to say I'm not a believer in that, you know, hard work pays off, and that you can make your own life and happiness and all that, because I am. But it's like a mixture of the two. And sometimes, like this year, obviously, like I said, finding out I was pregnant, how I felt in my pregnancy, I feel like that was the universe showing me what I needed, not what I want. My pregnancy ended up in C-section, and on reflection, you know, that meant I was literally near enough bedridden for 2 weeks, and couldn't really do a lot for myself. Was just having time with the baby. Oh, too early to get emotional. Right. what I took from that is that was like, life showing me, slow down. This time isn't about getting back to it. How quickly you can, get back on your feet, how quickly you can get back to work. This C-section is about you stopping. This your mum. Be a mum. Be with the baby. Calm down, slow down. Yeah. And so that for me was okay. Okay, yeah, I got it. Um and just, yeah, even just having a baby this year, that was life saying it isn't, and this is something I had to take on board, is that it was life saying, okay, your priorities are now shifting, because you cannot be 110% working, 110% being mum. You can't do both at the same time. Like, there is no new mum, okay, new mum, be pregnant, have a baby, run a business to full capacity. It ain't happening, kids. Like, I felt like that was life showing me that. And I'll be honest with you, that's not what I wanted. I want to be the person who I'm like, yes, I can run a business to full capacity. Yes, I can recover from a C-section. Yes, I can look after a newborn. And turns out, can't do that. So for me, it was just being in touch with that side of, and again, this might be one that doesn't resonate with you, but it was just being in touch with that side of listening and watching what's going on in my life, and not just being so laser focused that I'm missing things. So as I said, I'm a big believer in like the universe sending me opportunities and situations, and I always say, like, if you talk to the universe, send me the opportunity, I will grab it with both hands. And I'm so used to that being about like work, or going to an event or meeting someone, but I feel like the universe sent me Eliza and was just like, that is your focus now. And what I'm really struggling with is pulling away from being 110% of my business, which I'm so used to being all the time, every day, all day. I would be thinking about work. Even at the end of my pregnancy, even the day before she was born, I think I recorded a podcast about 2 days before she was born. Like, a lesson I've learned is like, I've really got to lean into what's going on in my current situation, and trusting that that's what I need right now, not necessarily what I want. Hopefully this makes sense. I mean, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter. It's my life lesson, right? But I want you to just be listening. So yeah, just, I don't know whether that might resonate with you or not. Like, sometimes if, I don't know, things aren't working out, or you just feel a little bit misplaced in where you're at with life at the moment, is it because you're trying to do what you think you want or what you think you should have, but actually it's not what you need at that current moment? Don't know. Just, that was yeah, a big one for me. It's just leaning into what I need and what life is showing me, and not necessarily and what I want might be next year or the year after. No? Anyway, right. Number 5. Not sure whether that one made sense, but it made sense to me. Last one. Short one for the end of the year. Okay, hold on to your hats, because this is a bit of a cheese fest, okay? And it actually is this saying on my wall, which I thought was crazy. Not that crazy, but yeah. So it basically, a big life lesson for me was this saying: reach for the moon, and even if you fall short, you'll land among the stars. Hopefully you heard that. Reach for the moon, and even if you fall short, you will land among the stars. I love that saying. And so last January, I'm going to come back to this in 1 second. I'm a big believer in, what we see in our environment, where we subconsciously register it, which is very, very true. So I was like, right, I want positivity in my office. I want to be subconsciously looking at things every day that are going to positively impact me. So we'll come back to that one in a minute. Let's just go through these ones. If your mind can conceive it, your heart can believe it, then you can achieve it. Okay? And then this was a big one for me this year, actually. You didn't come this far to only come this far. Okay? That's a really good one for me when I feel like going, no, can't do it, giving up, I'm quitting, off I go. Because over the last 5 years starting Empowered, that one is a big one for me. Right, but this was the lesson. So as I said at the beginning of the year, I set myself 10 business goals, okay? 10 business goals and they were big business goals as well. And some of them I hit and some of them, I didn't quite hit. And that was the lesson here, is that I set the big business goals. And even though I didn't hit all of them, I am still so far ahead than where I was at the beginning of this year. And I set 10 business goals and 10 life goals as well. Just so you know. And by the way, I wrote this before I was even pregnant, but my number one on my life goal was I have a healthy pregnancy. Love that for us. Yeah, not getting emotional. So business goal, reach for the moon and you will fall among stars. That's it. So my biggest lesson this year was that if I set myself a goal and even if I don't achieve it 110%, but achieve it 70, 80%, that's still a massive achievement. And that I should absolutely still set the big goals and still go for the unrealistic goals, because actually, even if we get close to that, even if I get close to that, that's still a massive, massive achievement. And that's what I'll be taking into 2025 as well, because it showed me that earlier this year, I set some massive goals, personal and business. And like I said, some of them were so unrealistic that, I don't want to say unrealistic, but some of them were very high, if I get that, wow, mind blowing. But I'm a lot closer than, and I didn't quite get there, but I'm a lot closer than where I was at the beginning of the year. And I still get to reflect and go, bloody hell, good job. Good job. Yeah. One of them was setting up my Empowered Mamas course. At the beginning of the year, I was literally, when I wrote that goal, I had no plan of how I was going to do it, how I was going to structure it, where I was going to hold it, when I was going to film it. And at the end of the year, because every day I was looking at that goal, that big goal, I'm sat here with a full-blown course being hosted on a website with so much content, so many videos in there. Yeah. And I'm just like, you go, girl. You did that. I'm trying to think. There's a white rose bag in the middle. Right, hang on. Okay, so I'm gonna share this. Goal with you, because this goal didn't quite hit it, but it basically says, I film great content on my Sony camera. So funny story. There's the Sony camera in the bottom of the corner, bottom of the screen. Last Black Friday, I spent a lot of money on this camera to upgrade my content, and in January, I spent hours watching YouTube videos how to use it. Still don't know how to use it properly. And yeah, I did start filming on it. You would have seen some of my content on Instagram. Did start filming on it. Need to get back into it. But that goal didn't 100% happen. But I remember writing that I hadn't even turned the bloody camera on. I hadn't even turned it on. I remember sitting just looking at it going, I need to learn how to use it. Right, I'm going to write it as my goal. And this is my point. Reach for the moon, you fall amongst the stars. I turned it on. I know how to use it. I did record some good content on it. And now going into next year, when I start to use it again, I'll feel better about that. So yeah, so yeah, lesson 5 and the last one for me, reach for the moon and you'll fall amongst the stars. And that is probably the one that I would like to gift you with taking into 2025 before we finish this episode. Is it, girl, if you've got big dreams, big goals that feel unachievable, that feel, so far away from what you want, write them down. Look at them, think about them, make that plan and go for it. Even if you don't 100% have the full plan, just start the plan. If you've got the first step, I promise you, once you do that first step, the second step will show itself, or it'll show up somewhere. And this time of year can be daunting as well as exciting, and it is for me. 100% it is for me. It isn't always just, I've got my shit together and I'm excited and I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I set my goals from, is this going to sound very deep and then we're going to finish, but I set my goals from my like soul. So when I'm writing goals down, sometimes I will literally be writing them terrified, and I'll be crossing myself. I'll be like, bloody Ellen, why are you writing this down? Why are you writing this down? Last year, one of my goals, I will speak on stage. I remember writing it thinking, why are you doing that? That's so terrifying. But then I went on to hold the Mission Empowered Live podcast, and it was amazing. And I got to now say that I did that. And I'm proud of Scared M for writing that down, because Current M went and achieved it. And that just, helped build my character even more. So write the scary goals down. Even when you're writing them and your stomach's turning, you're thinking, bleh. But it's because you know from your subconscious that's truly what you want. And if you get to achieve that, you'll be sitting at the end of 2025 thinking, wow, I'm so proud of myself. Okay, we'll leave it there. Ollie's got to go to work. I've got to go and be full-time mum. So guys, thank you so much. I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for all of your support in 2024. It's been a roller coaster. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please drop me a message. Just say, hey, I'd love to wish you all the happiness in 2025 to all my listeners. And yeah, I hope maybe my lessons have helped you either think about your lessons or you've took something from that. And like I said, I wish you the best in 2025, and I will see you in January in full force. And it's going to be a big year for me, and I wish it's going to be a big year for you as well. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you soon. Love you, bye.